Karen can comprehend I don't work in the ER by user communication minus 7820. I think this kind of fits here. We LLC. I work for a level 1 trauma center doing sterile processing. Level 1 trauma centers handle literally everything and they never close at any point. Sterile processing is a department that exists in every hospital and handles the cleaning, repacking, and sterilization of all reusable instrumentation for anything from trivial clinic procedures to massive multi-hour-long surgical operations. Hospitals literally cannot function without it. Given that the largest volume of instrumentation comes from the OR, the operating room, the department is typically located either directly above, below, or beside the OR so that when rooms need extra instrumentation delivered, the response time isn't that high. This department also never closes, so we each have to work one weekend a month and at least one holiday a year. I try to work all the holidays because I don't care that much and I get double time and I have to do it. One weekend I was working. The cases that come to the OR on weekends are typically emergent cases for patients who came down from the ER. I was coming back from break and had to pass by some family consultation rooms as they were directly between my department and the cafeteria. One thing to note is that in SPD, we wear the exact same scrubs that the OR wears. They were all laundered in the hospital so as to not introduce outside microorganisms into the surgical environment, so it is understandable that they can occasionally get confused for staff that might work directly in the OR. Anyways, this man who looked extremely nervous emerged from one of the rooms and flagged me down. I took a moment to respond to him because I had my earbuds and blasting some dangerously loud punk rock. Me, can I help you? Entitled guy, yes, I want to know where my wife is. She has been in surgery for over an hour and I haven't heard anything. Me, I am not sure. I am sure they'll come get you when they have news. Entitled guy, well, why can't you tell me anything? Me, I don't even work in the ER. I don't know who your wife is, and even if I did. He cut me off and he began to raise his voice. Entitled guy, her name is wife's name redacted because HIPAA and you need to go find out an update now. Me, sir, don't raise your voice at me. I told you I don't work in the ER. I can help you. Entitled guy, yes you do. You re-wearing the same uniform. Me, no, I work in sterile processing. I have to get back to work. I turn around to go and leave, but as I am walking away I feel a vice grip on my arm. I turn around to see him try to tell me not to walk away from him, but I start yelling first. Me, yo, what the fuck? Get your fucking hand off of me. As this is happening, one of the nurses from the OR rounds the corner to see this guy grabbing me and getting into a screaming match with me. I don't remember how long this actually took because I was hopped up on adrenaline ready to fight this guy, but she had run upstairs to the security office to grab one of the public safety officers and came back with several of them in tow. They managed to create some space between us and ended up placing us in different rooms. I filled them in on my version of events. I can hear the other guy screaming incoherently from the other room. One of the officers steps up when I am told I can finally head back to my department to fill out an incident report. I see the entitled guy getting carted off in cuffs. I made it back to my department and notified the charge person of what had happened and that I needed to fill out an incident report, which I did. From what I've gathered, assault is a horribly common occurrence for healthcare workers in patient-facing settings. I understand that being in a hospital can be emotionally overwhelming and stressful, but that is never an excuse to assault a healthcare worker. Some people. Update. Wow, okay, this got way more popular than I expected it to. So some housekeeping. This was my first experience like this, so I was definitely not well practiced in de-escalation techniques, so I do intend on brushing up on that. Sorry, I misspelled HIPAA, Reddit. I will turn myself into the nearest moderator so that I may be executed. What else? Oh, I guess people often assume healthcare worker posts are made by women because it is a female-dominated field. I am in fact a man, lol. I will update more if more questions commonly come up. Update the second. While the comments got locked, that is hilarious. So I spoke with the educator and there happens to be some de-escalation courses offered at the hospital I can click in for on my day off tomorrow and get overtime for, so I will be doing that. My heart bleeds for that guy's wife. I haven't heard any updates, but I am sure she woke up from surgery with the news that her husband wouldn't be at her side that night, which fucking sucks. I do kind of feel bad for the husband. I am sure he was incredibly stressed out because of his situation. I just wish he had better control of his emotions. This is the first time I've dealt with this, so I have no idea what happens next. We'll keep you all informed. If everyone is gonna think I work here anyway, I might as well start getting paid by user new at 9,142. About 2.5 years ago, I got really into thrifting. I love the thrill of the hunt and occasionally finding cute little treasures to put on my trinket shelves. Even better if I find something I needed to buy anyway for a better price. I started visiting thrift stores so often I got very familiar with all of my local thrift layouts. I am not much interested in clothes. I just want to look at household stuff, and thrifts are usually set up so that all of the household things are in the back of the store. As a result, I usually walk quickly through the front of the store straight to the decor aisle. I guess walking quickly and confidently through a thrift store is enough to make it look like you work there, because all of a sudden I started getting "Do you work here?" at every single thrift I went to. The first time it happened, it was my day off, and I was thrift hopping as a fun activity on my day off. Just going from store to store looking for frog figurines and brass decor. The first store of the day, I squeezed by a woman in an aisle and heard her say, hello. I continued walking because I didn't realize she was talking to me. That's when I heard her say, louder, wait, excuse me. I stopped and turned around to look at her, very confused. When she asks, you work here, don't you? I kinda laugh and go, oh, no, I'm sorry, I don't. She was embarrassed. She apologized. I thought that was a silly little thing and moved on with my life, thinking that was the end of it. And I went to the next store and the same thing happened. I passed by a man who asked me if I worked there, and I told him no and moved on. At the next store I came and browsed and shopped without incident. Then as I was leaving, I literally had one foot at the door, a young teenage boy and girl came up to me and asked me when the store closed. I said I'm pretty sure they close at 9. The boy sort of looked at me like I was being silly and asked, isn't that something you should know? If it weren't for the previous 2 interactions, I honestly would have been confused by this, but at this point my brain was already in I don't work here mode, so I assumed he thought I was an employee too and said, sorry, I don't work here. The boy looked like he wanted to die while the girl just laughed at him, and I exited the store. For the next several weeks, every time I visited a thrift, no matter if it was a Goodwill, Salvation Army, a local place or anywhere else, someone would inevitably ask me if I worked there. At first I stuck to my I don't work here answer, but it started happening so much from so many different people I finally just started rolling with it. What's the sales color? It's green today. Where would I find silverware? Same place as the pots and pans, back of the store, third aisle from the left. Did you guys test this computer? So many electronics get donated, there's no way every single one can get tested, but there is a power strip right over there if you'd like to test it yourself. It happened at every thrift store and only at thrift stores. I didn't get it at the grocery store or at restaurants or anywhere else. Only thrifts. Finally, I figured, what the heck, apparently I'm good at this. Let's give it a shot, and applied to the closest local thrift store to where I was living. I was interviewed and hired on the spot, starting out as a cashier, and within 2 weeks I was in the back of the store pricing household items. After just a couple days of pricing, my manager told me, you're good at your job, really good. I got a raise the next week. Within a few months I was promoted to a team lead and had been given several raises. I will have been working as a team lead at the store for 2 years in January, and I am loving it. I get to see every single item that comes through, and I never miss seeing a fun treasure and love uniting these beautiful pre-loved pieces with someone who will cherish it. I have a job I love that I hope to be working for many more years to come, and it all started with the silly question most people dread. Do you work here? Lady at TJ Maxx, wouldn't he believe I don't work there because I was held in hangers by user Demoriton. So I was at TJ Maxx looking for a hoodie. I had a few hangers in my hand while comparing sizes, and this woman comes up to me asking if I can check in the back for a medium. I tell her I don't work there, and she just stares at me for a few seconds. Then she points at the hangers I am holding like she caught me in a lie and goes, then why are you carrying those? I try to explain that I am shopping too, but she asks, already rolling her eyes. Then she says, you were just fixing that rack, which, yeah, I was hanging one back up because it fell. Apparently that a suspicious behavior now. An entire staff of non-employees by user Captain Emmy. This happened nearly 20 years ago, and a recent reminiscence triggered by another location of the store brought up the memory. During college, I worked summers at Scout camp. We had a few rotations of uniforms, including t-shirts that were very Scout summer camp that also had printed upon them the word staff. Well, on weekends some of us enjoyed heading down to town, and sometimes we would just wear the staff camp shirts because why the heck not, we didn't always want change after the Saturday morning cleanup. So about half a dozen give or take of us happened to be in a local little everything store when a man asked one of us for help finding something. We clearly were not employees, but this response quite infuriated the guy to the point of yelling, and I, being the college girl who was kind of taken over as resident mom for some of the younger staff members, had to rush a couple of them out of the way. Yes, actual management got involved and tried to explain the difference in the staff uniforms, a polo vs a very summer camp-esque t-shirt. Nope. Crazy man insisted that no one wearing the word staff should be allowed in another store, let alone around 6 of them. Nope, I don't know where the bathroom is by user geekteki. I've always wanted to post here. As of last Friday, I can. I attended the church funeral service of the wife of a high school classmate. There were a couple of hundred people there, and a substantial number were in the hallway during the delay between moving from the viewing room to the main chapel for the service. The only person I know was my classmate, so I was hanging out in the periphery by myself. I am dressed in black Dockers, black polo, and my black and white running shoes. Most people were in suits, but not all. All of a sudden, a very well-dressed woman walks up to me and asks where the bathroom is. I very politely replied that I had no idea. She apologizes and then says that she saw my cell phone in its belt holster and decided that I worked there. We both chuckled. I immediately decided to post here, but forgot until a Reddit app notification on my phone reminded me a few minutes ago.